I was a student at the University of Colorado. I had just finished cramming my 4 years into 6 in mechanical engineering. And our campus director there was somebody that impressed me so much, with a guy who knew how to answer the hard questions like, what do I do with the rest of my life? And I'd been interviewing various companies, Standard Oil and Shell Oil, and engineering companies were hiring people. So I said to this gentleman, I said, can you help me with this? So we met the next day. As we sat down, what I expected him to do was to say, okay, here's what you do. But here's what he said. He said, I have 2 questions. Number 1, he said, by the way, this isn't a question, but I have one. He said, since you're going into the ministry, I said, no. I said, I am pursuing all these, opportunities. And he said, I know. And I remember him reaching in his hip pocket and pulling out a little New Testament, which was the shape of his hip pocket, and peeling it open and turning to 2 Corinthians, I think it's 5:18, and turning it and handing it to me and said, read this. And I said, like right here. We were in a little place to eat. I said, okay. And it says something like this: those who've been reconciled to Christ have been given the ministry of reconciliation. So then here was his first question. Have you been reconciled to Christ? And I said, yeah. He said, then according to that, you're in the ministry. I went, yeah. So the question is not whether you'll be in the ministry. The question is, while in the ministry, where's the best place to do it? Is it Fisher Governor Company in Iowa? Is it making cellophane in Topeka, Kansas? Is it, I went, okay, hadn't thought of that. Then his next question was, do you feel like you're a Christian who happens to be an engineer, or an engineer who happens to be a Christian? I said, well, 6 years in engineering school, I'm probably an engineer who happens to be a Christian. He said, which one do you want? I said, for my life, a Christian, I suppose. And he said, what makes you think you'll be that? I said, I don't know. He said, why don't you come with our outfit, that would be Campus Crusade, for a couple of years. We'll train you for a year, you'll train somebody for a year, and then you go do what you have to do, because you're in the ministry, in whatever you do. I'd never thought this way before. It was a new way of thinking, and I went back to the Crusade House there in Boulder, Colorado, and a young guy who was living there handed me a staff application and said, I've been praying that you'd come on our staff for a long time, Warner. I went, no. He said, yeah. And I filled it out, and I sent it in, and I showed up, and I've been doing that for a long time.